Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the exploration ship Terra's Pride and watched the massive ring grow bigger on the main screen. The structure was huge, easily 50 kilometers across, floating in empty space between star systems, like some giant monument built by aliens. First Officer Lisa Carter ran another deep scan while her face showed deep thought and worry. "Still no answer to our calls, Captain," said Communications Officer Ryan Phillips. "But I can see thousands of different ships docked around the ring at various ports." Navigator Amy Wells brought up the star maps on her console. "Sir, this station is not on any of our charts. It sits right between three major space routes we use for deep exploration." Dr. Peter Hayes, the ship's scientist who studied alien life, looked at the readings with growing excitement. "The energy patterns show at least 40 different types of technology. This is not just a space station. It is some kind of massive meeting place for travelers from across space." As they moved closer, automated systems suddenly turned on and scanned their ship with beams of unknown energy. A shimmering image appeared on the bridge, showing a tall, crystal-like being with multiple arms and eyes that seemed to change color with its feelings. "Unknown ship," the being spoke through their translation computer. "You are not in the Galactic Concordate database. Tell us your species name and your invitation permission code." Captain Morrison stepped forward. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship Terra's Pride. We are explorers from Earth, and we did not know we needed permission to travel through empty space." The alien's crystal features changed to what looked like confusion mixed with alarm. "Humans? There is no species with that name in our records. And you speak of traveling through space as if no one controls it. This is very strange." The being's image flickered as it talked with others. When it came back, its voice carried clear authority. "You are breaking Concordate space traffic rules. Only member species of the Galactic Concordate can travel in controlled space. You must let us board your ship and hold you until the Concordate Council reviews your case." Lisa Carter looked at her captain with concern. "Sir, I am reading weapons powering up on the station. Several ships are moving toward us." "Captain, Morrison made a choice that would change human history forever." "Mr. Phillips, send a message on all frequencies. Tell them we are peaceful explorers, but we do not accept any authority that claims to own empty space. Ms. Wells, set course through the center ring of the station. If they want to talk, they can follow us." As Terra's Pride moved faster toward the massive structure, Ryan Phillips could not help but smile. "Captain, I think we just crashed the galaxy's most exclusive party without an invitation." The human ship flew straight toward the center of the giant ring while alien vessels moved to stop them. Jake Morrison had spent his whole life exploring unknown places, and he was not about to stop now just because some aliens thought they owned space. The ring station grew larger and larger on their screen, showing details of incredible alien engineering that no human had ever seen before. "All stations, prepare for evasive action," Morrison ordered as warning lights flashed across alien ships around them. "We came out here to explore, and that is exactly what we are going to do." Lisa Carter watched the tactical display as more alien ships joined the pursuit. "Captain, they are trying to surround us, but their ship seems slower than ours." Amy Wells called out from navigation. "Course plotted through the central ring, sir. The opening is large enough, but it will be tight with all those ships around us." Dr. Hayes studied the alien communications flooding their systems. "Captain, they seem genuinely shocked that we exist. From what I can understand, no species has ever entered their space without permission before." The crystal being appeared again on their screen, its colors now shifting rapidly between what the computer translated as anger and disbelief. "Human ship, you must stop immediately. No vessel has ever ignored Concordate authority. You are creating an impossible situation." Captain Morrison looked directly at the alien leader. "Sir or madam or whatever you prefer to be called, humans have been exploring for thousands of years. We have crossed oceans, climbed mountains, and reached for the stars. We do not ask permission to see what lies beyond the next horizon, and we are not going to start now. As Terra's Pride approached the ring's center, the alien ships fell back, apparently unwilling to risk a collision in the crowded space around the station. The human ship passed through the massive opening with room to spare, emerging on the other side into open space. "Well," said Ryan Phillips as he watched the alien fleet regrouping behind them, "I guess we just announced to the galaxy that humanity has arrived." Captain Morrison nodded as he looked at the star charts showing vast, unexplored regions. "Mr. Phillips, send another message to that station. Tell them if they want to discuss this like civilized beings, they know where to find us. But make it clear that humans go where we choose to go." The Terra's Pride set course for the nearest star system, leaving behind a very confused and increasingly worried Galactic Concordat, trying to figure out what to do about the uninvited guests who had just changed everything. The Concordat Council chamber buzzed with hundreds of different types of communication as species from across the galaxy argued about what to do with the humans. High Arbiter Zix Thalar, a being that looked like a walking tree with silver bark and glowing root-like arms, called for quiet. "Important council members," Zix Thalar's voice reached everyone through both sound and mental communication. "We face a situation we have never seen before. A species calling themselves humans has entered Concordat space without invitation, permission, or even knowledge that we exist." Counselor Vex Nari, representing the warlike Korth Empire, slammed her forearms against her speaking stand. "The answer is simple, High Arbiter. One unauthorized ship can be easily handled. Destroy it and send a message to whatever system created them." Dr. Keldan, the chief alien expert for the peaceful Thraxan Federation, spoke with his deep, whale-like voice. "With respect, Counselor Vexnari, our first scans of their ship show fascinating things. These humans have achieved faster-than-light travel without quantum technology, gravity control, or dimension folding. Their method appears to use pure energy force." A wave of disbelief passed through the chamber. Ambassador Hive Mind Unit 7742 from the collective Zephyrian consciousness spoke in perfect harmony from 12 different voices. "This cannot be possible. All known ways to travel faster than light require advanced understanding of space-time control. Energy-based faster-than-light travel should tear apart any known material." "Exactly," Dr. Keldan continued. "Yet their ship shows no signs of damage from stress. Also, their vessel appears to be built mainly from refined iron metals, with what can only be called brute force engineering solutions." High Arbiter Zix Thalar checked the data flowing through his mind. "Most troubling is their response to our lawful authority. When told they were breaking Concordat rules, their captain showed what the translation system reads as amused defiance and flew directly through our most secure space station. Security Chief Kralthon, a massive insect-like being with armor-like shell, gave his military analysis. The human vessel showed remarkable skill flying through the station's center ring. Our chase ships could not match their turning abilities. They appear to have done this through rapid speed changes that should have turned any biological crew into liquid." Counselor Vexinari's voice carried a note of respect, despite her aggressive position. "So these humans are either remarkably tough or completely insane." "Perhaps both," thought Dr. Keldan out loud. "I recommend we invite them for formal diplomatic contact. Their technology alone deserves investigation, and their clear disregard for our authority suggests they may be more dangerous to ignore than to engage." High Arbiter Zix Thalar made the decision that would bring humanity into galactic politics. "Very well. Send a diplomatic ship to human space, but prepare our fleets. If these uninvited guests prove hostile, we must be ready." The debate continued for hours as different species argued their positions. The Merchants Guild worried about trade disruption. The Science Consortium wanted to study human technology. The military alliance demanded immediate action to maintain concordant authority. Representative Morthek from the ancient builders spoke with the weight of thousands of years. This one remembers the time of chaos before the Concordat brought order. These humans show the same dangerous traits that nearly destroyed civilization. Do they? Challenged Dr. Keldan. Their ship could have destroyed our pursuit vessels easily, but they chose to evade instead of fight. Their captain was rude by our standards, but not threatening. They seek to explore, not to conquer. Young council member Lintar from the recently joined Kalari Republic offered a different view. My people have been Concordat members for only 30 years. We followed all the approved development paths and accepted all resource limits. In 30 years, we have made small, careful progress. These humans appear to have advanced faster in decades than we have in centuries. Security Chief Kralthon provided more tactical data. Analysis of their ship's construction reveals several impossible features. Their hull materials should not exist. Their propulsion system violates known physics. Their power source generates energy levels that should cause catastrophic failure. Yet their ship functions perfectly, noted Dr. Keldan. Perhaps our understanding of what is possible needs updating. Ambassador Hivemind Unit 7742 processed multiple data streams simultaneously before speaking. The humans present a logical paradox. They ignore established scientific limitations, yet achieve functional results. They reject authority, yet cause no direct harm. They appear primitive, yet demonstrate advanced capabilities. Counselor Vex Nari stood again, her voice filled with certainty. This council talks as if these humans are a curiosity to be studied. They are a threat to everything we have built. If we allow one species to ignore Concordat law, others will follow. Order will collapse into chaos. Dr. Keldan's response was calm but firm. Counselor, perhaps order that requires force to maintain is not true order at all. The humans achieve remarkable things precisely because they refuse to accept limitations others consider absolute. High Arbiter Zixthalar watched the debate with growing understanding. The council was not really arguing about humans. They were arguing about the nature of civilization itself. Some believed order required control, while others wondered if control prevented growth. The vote will be held tomorrow, Zixthalar announced. We will decide whether to treat the humans as a threat to be eliminated or a mystery to be understood. Council members should consider carefully. Our choice will determine not just humanity's fate, but the future direction of galactic civilization. As the chamber emptied, species groups formed clusters of intense discussion. Some planned military responses, others diplomatic approaches. A few began to wonder if the humans might teach them something new about what was possible when someone refused to accept that anything was impossible. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the most important visitors are the ones who arrive uninvited. 6 months later, the Concordat diplomatic ship Harmony of Worlds came out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Ambassador Tolvaren, a graceful being with features like a cross between a dolphin and a butterfly, studied the readings with growing amazement. "Navigation officer, confirm our position," she asked in her musical voice. "Confirmed, Ambassador. This is the system the humans call Sol, but I am detecting massive artificial structures throughout the system." Chief Science Officer Melkaran, whose gas-like form flowed within a special suit, provided analysis. "Ambassador, the level of industrial development here exceeds anything in our databases. They have completely hollowed out multiple asteroids, built orbital homes around several planets, and appear to have permanent settlements on worlds that should be impossible to live on." As they approached the third planet, Earth, they met a fleet of human ships. Unlike the smooth, curved designs favored by Concordat species, human ships were angular, practical, and covered with what could only be weapon systems. Admiral Kate Sullivan, commander of the Sol Defense Force, appeared on their viewing screen. Her weathered face and steel gray eyes showed both authority and a hint of amusement. Welcome to Sol System, Ambassador Tolvarin. Your people requested diplomatic talks, so let us talk. Ambassador Tolvarin was surprised by the humans' directness. In Concordat Protocol, formal diplomatic meetings involved days of ceremonial preparation. Admiral Sullivan, we come with greetings from the Galactic Concordat. We wish to discuss your species' violation of established interstellar law and possible integration into civilized galactic society. Admiral Sullivan laughed, a sound that apparently translated poorly, causing several diplomatic staff members to flutter nervously. Ambassador, let me save us both some time. We have been listening to your communications for months. We know you think space belongs to your Concordat, and we know you are used to species asking permission to explore. That is correct. The Concordat maintains peace and order throughout known space. Known to you, Admiral Sullivan corrected. But here is the thing. Humans do not ask permission to explore. We never have. When our ancestors saw a mountain, they climbed it. When they saw an ocean, they sailed it. When they saw the stars, they built ships and went to meet them. Dr. Ben Rodriguez, Earth's chief alien expert, joined the conversation from his laboratory on Luna Base. Ambassador, we have studied your Concordat membership requirements. Member species submit to resource allocation quotas, accept restricted exploration zones, and agree to limit their technological development to approve parameters. These protocols ensure galactic stability and prevent conflicts, Ambassador Tolvarin explained. For you, maybe, Admiral Sullivan replied. But humans have a saying, better to ask forgiveness than permission. We prefer to make our own mistakes and find our own solutions. Commander Frank Carter, Admiral Sullivan's strategic advisor, added, we have also noticed that your Concordat has not made any major technological advances in over 1,000 years. Every species follows the same approved paths to development. That is not progress. That is stagnation. Ambassador Tolvarin felt the conversation spiraling beyond her diplomatic training. Surely you understand the benefits of peaceful coexistence and shared knowledge? Absolutely, Admiral Sullivan agreed. We are happy to trade, share scientific discoveries, and work together on mutual problems. But we will not ask permission to exist, and we will not accept limits on where human ships can go. The ambassador realized she was facing something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that wanted cooperation without submission. I must consult with the Concordat Council. Your position is highly irregular. Admiral Sullivan grinned. Ambassador, irregular is what we do best. Take your time with those consultations. Meanwhile, our exploration fleets will continue mapping the galaxy. If your people want to meet us halfway as equals, you know where to find us. Dr. Rodriguez provided additional context that made the ambassador even more uncomfortable. Ambassador, we have analyzed Concordat membership requirements extensively. Your organization appears designed to prevent exactly the kind of rapid advancement that has characterized human development. Member species trade freedom for security, innovation for stability. These are not trades, Tolvarin protested. These are necessary compromises for civilized coexistence. Commander Carter spoke with gentle firmness. Ambassador, with respect, your definition of civilized seems to require giving up the qualities that make a species unique. Humans value diversity, not uniformity. We believe competition improves everyone, not just the winners. Ambassador Tolvarin tried a different approach. But surely you see the dangers of uncontrolled expansion? The Concordat exists because unrestricted growth led to terrible wars in the past. Admiral Sullivan's expression became more serious. Ambassador, humans have fought wars too, terrible ones, but we learned that the answer is not to stop growing. It is to grow in better directions. We do not avoid conflict by limiting ourselves. We prevent it by ensuring everyone benefits from progress. The diplomatic team spent 3 more days in Sol System, touring human facilities and observing their society. What they saw challenged everything they thought they knew about how advanced civilizations should work. On Luna Base, they watched human scientists working alongside artificial intelligences to solve theoretical physics problems that concordant researchers had declared unsolvable. On Mars, they observed vast terraforming projects that should have been impossible with human technology levels. Most disturbing to Ambassador Tolvarin was the human approach to resource management. Instead of carefully rationing limited materials, as the Concordant demanded, humans simply found ways to make more of what they needed. They mined asteroids, built artificial habitats, and created closed-loop systems that generated abundance rather than managing scarcity. Your people seem to believe that limitations exist to be overcome, she observed to Dr. Rodriguez during a tour of Earth's orbital manufacturing facilities. That is exactly right, he replied. Humans see a problem and ask how to solve it, not how to live with it. We see a barrier and ask how to go around it, over it, or through it. We see the impossible and ask how to make it possible. As the diplomatic mission prepared to return to Concordant space, Ambassador Tolvarin realized she faced an impossible task. How could she explain to the Council that the humans were not just rejecting Concordant authority, they were offering an entirely different way of thinking about civilization itself? The humans had shown her a society that thrived on change rather than fearing it, that found strength in diversity rather than unity, and that achieved stability through constant growth rather than careful control. It was everything the Concordant had been designed to prevent, yet it clearly worked. The question was no longer how to bring humans into compliance with galactic law. The question was whether galactic law needed to change to accommodate the reality of what humans represented. The possibility that there might be better ways to organize civilization than anyone had previously imagined. The emergency session of the Concordant Council had been running continuously for 3 weeks. The chamber, usually a model of orderly discussion, had become a chaos of conflicting opinions as species argued about the human question. High Arbiter Zix Thalar struggled to maintain order as groups formed around opposing viewpoints. On one side, the established military powers led by Counselor Vex Nari demanded immediate action to bring humanity into compliance. On the other, a growing coalition of younger species led by Dr. Keldan argued for accommodation. The humans have now established permanent outposts in 17 systems, reported Security Chief Kralthon, his jaw parts clicking with agitation. They ignore our boundary markers, refuse to acknowledge our territorial claims, and continue to expand at an unprecedented rate. Counselor Vexnari stood, her 4 arms moving emphatically. This council faces a simple choice: maintain the order that has preserved peace for thousands of years, or allow chaos to consume everything we have built. The humans must be stopped. Dr. Keldan's response resonated through the chamber's sound. Systems. Counselor Vexanari speaks of order, but what she describes is stagnation. In the past 6 months, human scientists have shared technological breakthroughs that have advanced our understanding in fields where we had made no progress for centuries. Representative Lindar from the Peaceful Merchants Guild provided supporting data. Human trade proposals are remarkably fair and mutually beneficial. They offer raw materials we desperately need in exchange for information and manufactured goods. Their economic models suggest abundance rather than scarcity-based competition. Because they take what they need, Vexnari snapped. They have strip-mined entire asteroid belts, terraformed worlds without environmental impact studies, and developed weapons technology that rivals our most advanced systems. Ambassador Hive Mind Unit 7742 spoke in harmonious chorus. The humans present a paradox. They demonstrate both remarkable creativity and concerning recklessness. They solve problems by ignoring previously accepted limitations, yet they appear genuinely committed to avoiding harm to other species. Dr. Keldan seized on this observation. Exactly. When human explorers encounter concordant member worlds, they invariably establish peaceful contact. They share medical technology, offer disaster relief, and propose mutually beneficial research, partnerships. Their actions contradict their reputation for aggression. High Arbiter Zix Thalar had been analyzing reports from multiple sources. The pattern is clear. Humans respond to attempted control with defiance, but to requests for cooperation with generous assistance. They appear to distinguish between authority imposed upon them and authority they choose to recognize. Young Counselor Mertavek from the recently admitted Shintari Republic spoke for the first time. Perhaps the question is not how to control the humans, but whether we want to learn from them. My people joined the Concordat only 50 years ago. We followed the approved development paths, accepted the resource limitations, and integrated our society according to established protocols. The chamber fell silent as Mertavek continued. In 50 years of Concordat membership, my people have made incremental progress. In 6 months of observing human behavior, we have identified dozens of innovation opportunities that our protocols previously prohibited. Representative Kexholon from the Ancient Builders spoke with the weight of thousands of years. This one remembers when the Concordat was formed to prevent the wars of expansion. The humans exhibit the same dangerous traits that nearly destroyed civilization. Do they? Dr. Keldan challenged. Or do they exhibit traits that we have trained ourselves to fear? The humans expand rapidly, but they do not displace existing populations. They develop powerful technologies, but they share the benefits. They reject our authority, but they respect our sovereignty. Chief Science Officer Talmarin from the Concordat Research Division provided crucial data. Analysis of human communication patterns reveals a concept they call frontier mentality. They believe that challenges exist to be overcome, that limitations exist to be transcended, and that the unknown exists to be explored. This mindset drives both their expansion and their innovation. The debate revealed fundamental philosophical differences that had been hidden beneath Concordat unity for centuries. Some species had joined the Concordat for protection, others for stability, still others because they had no choice. The human example was forcing everyone to examine whether their reasons were still valid. Counselor Morkevin from the Defensive Alliance raised practical concerns. Even if we accept that humans mean no harm, their presence destabilizes our entire system. Other species are already questioning why they must follow rules the humans ignore. Border disputes that have been settled for centuries are being reopened. Member worlds are demanding renegotiation of resource agreements. Dr. Keldan acknowledged the concern but offered a different interpretation. Perhaps these questions needed to be asked. The Concordat has maintained peace by preventing change, but change may be necessary for true progress. The humans have shown us that our limitations may be self-imposed rather than absolute. Ambassador Tolvarin, recently returned from Sol System, provided her official report. The human society is unlike anything in our records. They have achieved remarkable technological advancement through what they call managed chaos, allowing multiple competing approaches to problem-solving rather than enforcing single approved methods. Chaos, Counselor Vexnari repeated with disgust. You describe chaos and expect us to embrace it. I describe diversity, Tolvarin corrected. The humans do not eliminate competing ideas. They test them against each other and adopt whatever works best. Their society advances because it constantly experiments with new approaches rather than perfecting old ones. High Arbiter Zix Thalar recognized that the Council was facing a decision that would determine the future of galactic civilization. The choice before us is not simply about humans. It is about whether the Concordat will evolve or remain static, whether we will expand our understanding or defend our ignorance, whether we will embrace the future or cling to the past. Young Counselor Mertavek stood again. My people request permission to establish direct diplomatic relations with humanity, independent of Concordat oversight. We wish to explore cooperative research agreements and cultural exchange programs. The request sent shockwaves through the chamber. Never before had a Concordat member requested independent foreign relations. Counselor Vexnari's voice carried grim certainty. If we grant the Shintari special status, other species will demand the same freedoms. The Concordat structure will collapse. Dr. Keldan's response carried hope rather than certainty. Perhaps it should evolve instead. The humans have shown us that cooperation does not require surrender of autonomy. Perhaps the Concordat can become something greater, a voluntary association, of equals rather than a hierarchy of subordinates. High Arbiter Zixthaler made a decision that would reshape galactic civilization. The Council will vote on 3 propositions. First, do we attempt to force human compliance through military action? Second, do we propose a new category of relationship, cooperative independence, that allows for collaboration without integration? Third, do we begin fundamental reforms of Concordat structure to accommodate diverse approaches to civilization? The vote was scheduled for the following day, but everyone knew that whatever decision emerged would mark the end of the old galactic order and the beginning of something entirely new. The humans had not just refused invitation to join galactic civilization. They had forced that civilization to question everything it thought it knew about itself. The crisis came from an unexpected direction. The Void Hunters, an ancient enemy that the Concordat had believed extinct, emerged from dark space in the galactic rim with a fleet unlike anything seen in recorded history. Their biomechanical ships, grown rather than built, swept through the outer territories, consuming everything in their path. Emergency alerts flooded the Concordat communication networks as world after world went silent. High Arbiter Zixthaler convened an emergency war council as refugee ships began arriving with horrific reports. Captain Nelvax of the merchant vessel Prophet's Dream provided first-hand testimony. They came without warning, High Arbiter. Our orbital defenses might as well have been throwing rocks. Their ships adapt to our weapons in real time, becoming immune to whatever damages them. Admiral Torwek, Supreme Commander of Concordat forces, studied the tactical reports with growing despair. Our conventional strategies are useless. The Void Hunters have evolved beyond our last encounter. They consume both organic and technological matter, growing stronger with each victory. The biomechanical enemy ships moved through space like living creatures, their hull surfaces rippling and changing as they absorbed energy from destroyed vessels. Concordat fleets that had maintained galactic peace for millennia were being systematically destroyed by an enemy that learned from every attack. Meanwhile, in the Sol system, Admiral Kate Sullivan received the Concordat's desperate plea for assistance. The message came from Dr. Keldan, who had become an unofficial liaison between humanity and the more progressive Concordat factions. Admiral Sullivan, Dr. Keldan's translation came through with unusual emotional undertones. The Concordat faces extinction. The Void Hunters have returned with capabilities that exceed our defensive capacity. We request human assistance not as members of our organization, but as potential allies against a threat to all sentient life. Admiral Sullivan convened her senior staff aboard the flagship Liberty's Hammer. Present were General Rick Hoffman, from the Colonial Marines, Dr. Elena Vasquez from Advanced Weapons Research, and Captain Tony Mitchell from the Deep Space Reconnaissance Corps. Options? Admiral Sullivan asked without preamble. General Hoffman provided the military assessment. We have 18 battle groups available for immediate deployment. Our new kinetic bombardment systems and adaptive armor should give us advantages against biomechanical enemies. Dr. Vasquez added technical considerations. The Void Hunter's ability to adapt to energy weapons plays to our strengths. Human weapons technology has always favored kinetic solutions and redundant systems. They will have trouble adapting to old-fashioned bullets and explosives. Captain Mitchell offered strategic perspective. This could be our chance to prove that cooperation does not require submission. If we help the Concordat survive this crisis as equals, it changes everything. Admiral Sullivan made the decision without consulting Earth Command. We deploy immediately, but we do this our way, with our tactics, under human command. Any concordate forces that want to fight alongside us follow our operational parameters. The human response fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Where concordate vessels prioritized efficiency and standardized designs, human ships were built for resilience and adaptability. Each vessel carried multiple redundant systems, kinetic weapons that could not be easily adapted against, and crews trained to think creatively under pressure. 3 days later, the combined human fleet emerged from hyperspace in the Kepler 442 system, where concordate forces had made their last stand. The scene was chaotic. Dozens of concordate ships in full retreat from a swarm of organic-looking void hunter vessels that seemed to flow through space like living creatures. Admiral Sullivan opened communications to all vessels. "This is Admiral Sullivan of the Human Defense Force. Concordate ships form up behind our battle line. We are going to show these void hunters what happens when they pick a fight with species that do not know how to quit." The battle that followed became legendary. Throughout the galaxy, human ships, designed for resilience rather than elegance, absorbed tremendous damage while their kinetic weapons punched through void hunter adaptations faster than the bioships could evolve countermeasures. Commander Sarah Blake, captain of the destroyer Indomitable, coordinated a breakthrough assault that shattered the void hunter formation. All ships concentrate fire on the largest bio-vessel. These things have to have some kind of central coordination node. The human tactical approach confused the void hunters. Instead of the predictable doctrine-based attacks they expected from concordate forces, human commanders improvised constantly, changing tactics faster than the biomechanical enemy could adapt. General Hoffman led a daring assault using modified cargo ships loaded with kinetic penetrators. "Target their feeding appendages. If they absorb matter to grow stronger, let us give them something that explodes from the inside." As human and concordate forces fought side by side, something unprecedented happened. The rigid tactical doctrines of concordate forces began incorporating human improvisational strategies, while human ships benefited from concordate shield technology and sensor networks. Dr. Keldan, observing from the concordate command ship, transmitted to Admiral Sullivan, "Your people fight as if defeat is impossible." Admiral Sullivan's response, broadcast across all frequencies, would be remembered for generations. "Dr. Keldan, humans have a saying, we did not come this far just to come this far. We do not fight to avoid losing. We fight to win." The combined fleet pushed the void hunters back through 3 star systems, with human forces leading increasingly daring assaults against biomechanical concentrations. Captain Tony Mitchell developed a new tactic of using small, fast ships to deliver kinetic charges directly into void hunter coordination nodes. "The key is not to think like they do," Mitchell explained during a brief tactical conference. "They adapt to patterns, so we do not use patterns. Every attack is different. Every approach is unique. They cannot evolve defenses against chaos." Dr. Elena Vasquez provided the scientific breakthrough that turned the tide. The void hunters are not just adapting to our weapons, they are trying to understand our technology to absorb it. But human technology is based on principles they cannot comprehend. We use brute force where they expect elegance, redundancy, where they expect efficiency. The final battle took place in the Void Hunter staging area, a massive biomechanical construct that had been growing in dark space for centuries. Human forces, now fighting alongside concordate allies who had learned to embrace improvisational tactics, launched a coordinated assault that destroyed the central control organism. As the biomechanical fleet dissolved into individual ships that fled back to dark space, Admiral Sullivan reflected on what the victory meant. "Dr. Keldan, your people called for help, and we answered. Not because we had to, but because we chose to. That is the difference between submission and cooperation." The aftermath of the battle saw something remarkable. Concordate forces requesting, permanent joint training programs with human military units, not to learn human technology, but to learn human thinking. The galaxy had discovered that the greatest weapon against an adaptive enemy was the refusal to be predictable. The Void Hunter crisis had proven that cooperation without submission was not only possible, but more effective than traditional hierarchical command structures. The humans had not saved the Concordat. They had shown the Concordat how to save itself. 1 year after the Battle of Kepler 442, the galaxy had fundamentally changed. The Void Hunter threat had been eliminated through a combined offensive that pushed the biomechanical invaders back into dark space, but the real transformation was political. The Concordat Council Chamber had been redesigned to accommodate new forms of governance. Instead of a hierarchical system with the High Arbiter presiding over member species, the chamber now featured collaborative zones where different governmental approaches could interact as equals. Ambassador Tolveren, now serving as the first Concordat Human Cooperative Liaison, addressed a gathering that would have been unthinkable 2 years earlier. Human representatives sat alongside traditional Concordat members, while previously unknown species, contacted through human exploration efforts, participated in galactic governance for the first time. Today marks the formal establishment of the Galactic Cooperative, Ambassador Tolveren announced. Unlike the previous Concordat structure, membership in the cooperative requires no surrender of sovereignty, no acceptance of development limitations, and no restriction on exploration activities. Admiral Kate Sullivan, now serving as Earth's representative to the cooperative, outlined the new framework. The principles are simple: cooperation without coercion, trade without exploitation, and exploration without permission. Each species maintains full autonomy while contributing to collective security and knowledge sharing. Dr. Keldan, who had become something of a celebrity among progressive species, provided the scientific perspective. In the past year, technological advancement across all member species has accelerated exponentially. The human practice of managed chaos, allowing multiple competing approaches to problem-solving, has proven remarkably effective. The changes were visible everywhere. Species that had stagnated for centuries under Concordat protocols were innovating again. The Thraxan Federation had developed new faster-than-light communication methods by combining their traditional telepathic abilities with human quantum entanglement research. The Merchants Guild had increased trade efficiency by 400% using human logistics models based on redundancy rather than optimization. Commander Frank Carter, now director of the Joint Exploration Initiative, reported on recent discoveries. Our combined exploration fleets have contacted 47 new species in the past year. The galaxy is far more diverse and populated than anyone previously imagined. The old Concordat's conservative exploration policies kept us isolated from the vast majority of galactic civilization. Young Counselor Mertavek, whose Shintari Republic had become one of the most enthusiastic adopters of human methodologies, addressed the historical significance. We have learned that there is no single path to advancement, no optimal governmental structure, no perfect solution to the challenges of interstellar civilization. The humans taught us that diversity of approach is strength, not weakness. Representative Lindar from the Merchants Guild provided economic data. Trade volumes have increased by 340% since the establishment of the cooperative. The human model of abundance-based economics has eliminated resource conflicts between member species. However, not all species had embraced the changes. Counselor Vexnari, representing a coalition of traditional military powers, maintained her opposition. This council celebrates chaos and calls it progress. Mark my words, without central authority, without established protocols, we will see a return to the ancient wars. General Rick Hoffman, now serving as military advisor to the cooperative, responded with characteristic human directness. Counselor Vexnari, your people are welcome to maintain whatever internal structure you prefer, but the days of imposing that structure on others are over. Strength comes from voluntary cooperation, not forced compliance. The proof of the new system's effectiveness was visible in every sector. Scientific research had accelerated as species shared knowledge freely rather than hoarding it according to concordant regulations. Military cooperation had improved as different tactical approaches were tested and refined rather than standardized. Economic growth had exploded as artificial scarcity was replaced by genuine abundance. High Arbiter Zix Thaler, whose role had evolved from supreme authority to collaborative facilitator, offered the long-term perspective. In my centuries of service, I have observed that periods of greatest advancement always coincide with periods of greatest change. The humans have brought change, yes, but they have also brought possibility. Dr. Elena Vasquez, now heading the Cooperative's Advanced Research Division, announced the next phase of human influence. Ladies, gentlemen, and sentient beings of all classifications, I am pleased to announce the approval of the Deep Space Exploration Initiative. Joint human cooperative fleets will begin systematic exploration beyond the galactic rim, seeking new civilizations and expanding the boundaries of known space. Captain Tony Mitchell, selected to command the first deep space expedition, captured the spirit that had transformed galactic civilization. A year ago, humanity crashed the galaxy's most exclusive party uninvited. Today, we are all planning the next adventure together. The universe is vast, mysterious, and full of opportunities for those brave enough to explore it. The session concluded with announcements of dozens of joint projects. Research stations in previously forbidden zones, experimental colonies using new terraforming techniques, and exploration missions to distant galaxies. Species that had spent millennia following careful, approved procedures were now racing to try new approaches and discover what was possible. As representatives departed, for destinations throughout known space and beyond, the transformation was complete. The rigid, hierarchical structure that had governed galactic civilization for thousands of years had evolved into something dynamic, unpredictable, and remarkably effective. Ambassador Tolvarin approached Admiral Sullivan after the formal proceedings. "Admiral, you look satisfied." "I am thinking about possibilities," Sullivan replied. "A year ago, your people spent centuries believing that order required control, that peace required submission. Humans have demonstrated that cooperation can exist without dominance." Admiral Sullivan smiled, an expression that Tolvarin had learned to recognize as both friendly and slightly mischievous. "Ambassador, we are just getting started. Wait until you see what happens when we find the next galaxy." As human and alien ships departed for destinations throughout known space and beyond, the galaxy buzzed with new energy. Species that had stagnated for millennia were innovating again. Civilizations that had never met were forming alliances and sharing knowledge. The unknown was being explored with renewed vigor. Humanity had never been invited to join galactic civilization, but they had come anyway. In doing so, they had not conquered or destroyed the existing order. They had shown it how to evolve. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders yet to be discovered, and for the first time in thousands of years, its inhabitants were excited to find out what lay beyond the next star. The frontier, it turned out, was not a place, but a mindset. And humanity had brought that mindset to the stars, showing the galaxy that the greatest adventures begin when someone refuses to accept that anything is impossible.